Welcome to the 2023 Annual Conference and Book Fair in Seattle, Washington. I am Michelle Morano, a member of the AWP Board of Directors. A visual description of myself is that I am a middle-aged white woman with short brown hair and glasses, wearing a rust-colored tunic and black pants, and I am also a professor of creative writing at DePaul University in Chicago. The Association of Writers and Writing Programs is a small but mighty nonprofit organization. And here I have to go off script for a moment because I'm the newest member of the board. I was elected to the board 3 days ago, and I have never been so impressed with an organization. The board and the staff are awesome, and I have a newfound love of AWP. I always loved it, but now I love it even more. So I'm happy to share that with you. AWP amplifies the voices of writers and the academic programs and organizations that serve them, all while championing diversity and excellence in creative writing. I'm a member of AWP's board of directors, but first and foremost, I am a member of AWP, long time. Membership with AWP provides me with writing resources year-round, but just as importantly, it allows me to support other writers, especially those who are just starting out. My membership dues help writers find meaningful careers and publication opportunities and make services like writer-to-writer mentorship program possible. If you aren't already, I invite you to become a member today. Together, we are AWP. In support of our mission, we would like to welcome Bela Cohen-Knott and Amina Mughal, high school students in Seattle who are part of the Youth Poet Laureate Program, a program of Seattle Arts and Letters, which aims to identify youth writers and leaders committed to poetry, performance, civic and community engagement, education, and equity across the Puget Sound region. Please welcome Bela and Amina.
Hello, my name is Bela. So I have been doing an experiment where I use dream journal entries to make erasure poems. I'll read a short set of 4 of these poems for you today. Dream erasure number 5. It was time. I was something. I wanted home, so I bundled. I walked. Suddenly, the release sank its teeth into me. I fought not, I cradled me. Number 6. I went, and I was the underbelly, holding on to someone else. We fly, we establish, we know. When I close, I hinge, so I open and chat with her. Number 7. I survive a tornado. Number 9, so we said goodbye. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amina. I'm going to read a poem I wrote a couple days ago. Or a couple weeks ago, what am I saying? We drew roads as if they were veins on a map of our elementary school, and I asked you why the ground pulses like a sore baby tooth, a hazy, heady sort of growing up. Our skin split for the same concrete, we bled on the same playground equipment, and every time it rained, our innocence diluted the tears we cried for a world that we would always love more than it loved us. You and me, an homage, a mausoleum, a memorial, inky and mirrored. In May, we lifted our heads in a defiant prayer, feasting on the sky, sunrise citrus dripping down our chins, grubby hands grasping at the peach-colored sky, however fleeting. Bursting stars like blueberries between our greedy teeth. Next January, we pushed down the bile and spat out seeds. We robbed muses from their graves and choked on our own daffodil smoke rings. And now, you're never as far away as a limb because we feasted on the same twilights. And now, our spines wilting when we take our jaws in our hands and say, you won't go hungry. And now, our eyes bred to meet one another's, our memories are going rose gold. And now, we're pulling shoes from the streams that sustained us. And now, the subtlety of our love for each other. No longer fruit sticky and no longer afraid to let go. And now the apologies I never needed to hear tucked away in your eyes. And now the secrets you already knew hidden in my fingertips dripping like honey. And now our tongues full of loose ends.
Thank you so much for those wonderful poems. We are delighted to bring you this event today. I'd like to acknowledge and thank all of our conference sponsors and the Academy of American Poets in particular for hosting this event. Our literary partners and sponsors alike allow AWP to present these extraordinary literary events and help us keep our conference affordable and accessible. Please join me in thanking all of our conference sponsors and partners for their support and participation. Now, just a couple of brief housekeeping announcements. Please silence your cell phones. Remember that there's no flash photography allowed during the presentation. Respect seats marked as reserved for attendees with accessibility needs. And please give the authors about 10 minutes after the presentation to get to the book signing table before approaching them to have your book signed. Lastly, we ask that you please be aware of your fellow attendees who may have disabilities and help AWP be more accessible. Specifically, if you see a barrier to accessibility, let us know by calling or texting our accessibility hotline. The number is 240-269-6635, and you can see me after if you need that number again. Please also be aware of those with invisible disabilities and do not question someone's use of an accommodation. Thank you, and now it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome Nikai Paredes, who will introduce this fantastic event.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, student poets. That was amazing. And thank you, AWP. We're really proud to be partnering with you again to present this afternoon's reading. And hello, I'm Nikai Paredes. I'm the programs director of the Academy of American Poets. For those of you who don't know us, the Academy of American Poets produces poets.org, which is the world's largest publicly funded website for poets and poetry. We established and continue to organize National Poetry Month, which is next month in April. And we also publish the popular Poem a Day series and American Poets magazine. For the teachers and educators in the room, we provide free resources to K-12 educators, including the award-winning weekly Teach This Poem series. We also coordinate and are a founding member of the Poetry Coalition, which is a national alliance of more than 25 organizations working together to promote poetry. And this month through July, we are offering in-person and virtual readings, workshops, and other programming on the special theme of poetry and grief. So if you want to learn more about the Academy and the Poetry Coalition, please visit us at poets.org. Today, it's my huge honor to introduce the three poets who will be reading from their new poetry collections. They are Kweku Abimbola, Brenda Shaughnessy, and Jenny Shia. I'll introduce Kweku first. Born in the Gambia, Kweku earned his MFA in poetry from the University of Michigan's Helen Zell Writers Program. He is of Gambian, Ghanaian, and Sierra Leonean descent. He works as a teaching artist for the literary nonprofit Inside Out Literary Arts, where he holds workshops in poetry and creative writing for middle school students in Detroit public schools. He also lectures in English and creative writing at the University of Michigan. Last year, 2022, Tahimba Jess selected Kweku's manuscript titled Saltwater Demands a Psalm to receive the Academy's first book award. About his work, Jess wrote, "In an era of sloganeering and solipsism, Saltwater Demands a Psalm is a healing, a diasporic divination, an elegy of ancestral elegance. Dear reader, be wise, fix your mind to wonder, lift this tome to your dome and drink, drink, drink. After this reading, I invite each of you to pick up a copy of Saltwater, Demansasam, which Grey Wolf Press will officially publish next month, a National Poetry Month. And yes, please join me in welcoming Kweku to the stage.
When I say what up, though, you say what up, though. What up, though? All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Nakai, for that beautiful introduction. I feel so honored to be here. Thank you to the Seattle Poet Laureates that also blessed us with their opening. And I'm going to be reading a few poems from my forthcoming collection. And for today, I'm going to begin with joy, black joy to be exact. Here is Adinkrahine. Black joy circles, black joy ellipses. See black joy circling at functions, kickbacks, cookouts. See the giddy eyes when the dance circle first constellates. Who will become our first son? Someone yeses the beat, and we usher our first son to the eye of the dance circle. Go, go, ay, ay, she stitches guara to zanku energy. Body rolls into legwork, slows into a jiggy bop. Zanku, Zanku ignites her shoulders with pop locks, hits them folks, freezes, winds a shokiki shoki, then basse. Our first son implodes and scatters this first dance circle. Aish! That one, peep black joy's plasticity. A new dance circle swells. Now a second sun strides to test the pull of the first. The two loop and whoop each other, mirror each other, window each other. Pepe dem, pepe dem. They remind us that the body is a prism of rhythm, that the beat entering a black body cannot leave unchanged. Our songed sons make sculptures to time. See our animate shrines. See our lyric full bodies. Time come, body time. Thank you. Next, I will continue with naming. In Ghana, we give names based on one's day of birth, with each day having different characteristics and protective deities as well. In this collection, I investigate many of the rituals of naming that can be transferred from this life to the afterlife as well. Here is a history of my day. I am without a name the day I'm born. On the 8th day, my spirit rests my body's water in the beat and salt of my fishing village, Bakau. On that 8th day, my body is welcomed outside with white cloth and warm water and shea. On that 8th day, my mother is the first to read out my names as my spirit confirms its intention to sojourn with my body, not simply to survey. She speaks my soul name first, Kweku, Kweku. Then my father choruses with all the gathered kin, Kweku, Kweku. I'm born on the fulcrum, Wednesday, same as Anansi the spider. My mother prays that I'll carry his wit, wisdom, and pride, and only enough of his mischief to bring more laughter than tears. Closing the ceremony, she drizzles the soil with palm wine. The earth sips and toasts. Thank you. This next poem is an elegy for Trayvon Martin. Throughout Saltwater, I write elegies for Black American victims of racist violence and police brutality. But to refract the traditional elegy form, I create something called a birth elegy, where I use found language from Ghanaian naming ceremonies to name and symbolically birth these departed into a kind of black afterlife. So this elegy is actually a persona poem written in the voice of Awisi, which is the god of Sunday. And I chose this voice because that's the day of Trayvon's birth, Sunday. Finally, when he was still with us, Trayvon dreamt of a career in aeronautical sciences. And with this in mind, in 2017, the historically black Florida Memorial University posthumously awarded him a degree in aeronautical science. Here is Kwasiada. I name him Akwesi, whom you also call Trayvon. My week's beginning, my worship, anointed, yellow, new. My week begins with flight because he prays to me only. Let me grow old enough to be my own pilot, to fly my own skies. Each night, I paint his eyelid interiors cerulean and wisp. He sees himself boarding an Airbus A350 in crisp first captain digs, a deep navy coat overlain with bulbous gold buttons, 4 gold stripes on each shoulder, 4 gold stripes on each sleeve. His silver aviation wings are pinned squarely just left of a slim lapel above the crease of his breast pocket alongside a Florida Memorial University lion's pin. He nods to a head flight attendant and gives his co-pilot a close tuck dap before beginning the aircraft's careen along the jetway. The tenor and water of his central Florida drawl meld with the plane's PA system, like morning light mingled with dew. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Even in turbulence, he measures the water in each cloud. Steer, measure, steer. Tilting heavy wings through nesting cloud water. Black boy pilot keeping black boy skies. My week bleeds open without beginning. Thank you. And finally, for this afternoon, I'm going to read an ode to fishing, because both sides of my family, we come from fishermen and fisherwomen. This is the title poem of the piece, and it also calls out the practice of overfishing, where Western corporations will overfish in West African coastal waters, threatening the livelihood and spiritual practices of my people. Here is Saltwater Demands a Psalm. The moon's gray whisks morning waves. Ground swells glide and trade this silver snakeskin for sunrise. And we're up, my crew and I. We've been up. We've wagered the winds, traced the tides, combed and poured over our nets, nursing any tangles or weathered gaps. Our boats wait ready, licked in kente hues, names like happiness, good luck, nyamidria, and big catch are branded onto their still-banked hulls, buoyed at the heels of palm trees. Listen, we've come to shore singing, clapping, humming. Saltwater demands a psalm. We owned a measure of horizon and funked with the tide chasing it during each morning catch before the barges came. Before the barges came and threatened to scrape our reefs clean, we now vie with them for the final fish. It's a butterfish. We haven't netted any guitarfish or sandy grouper in months. It has to be a butterfish. They've been my village's anchor since when I was a child, learning to fish. I asked my father if the water below us was dead. He said, the water is only as dead as the bodies beneath and alive as the bodies above. He reached down, offering a palm full of salt water. We both drank, swear to keep this balance. These aren't the first ships coming to starve us. They won't be the last. Even our last butterfish knows this, and he's merciful. He's promised we won't even have to catch him. He'll come to us grinning and prideful, and we'll scoop him into a bucket of salt water and bring him back to shore. We'll feed him and groom him, trimming his airy whiskers. We'll dress him in purple kente like an ohene. We'll make festivals in his honor, make love in his honor, and name our children thus. And the day he finally passes, we'll round up all the village families and lead them out to sea. And with our boats, we'll blockade the barges and bury our last butterfish. No casket, no pyre, just salt water and a psalm. Thank you.
Our third and our final reader is Brenda Shaughnessy. She was born in Okinawa, Japan, and grew up in Southern California. She earned a BA at UC Santa Cruz and an MFA at Columbia University. Her newest poetry collection, Tanya, was published by Knopf just last Tuesday and is a powerful gathering of poems about her own influencers, as well as poems on Dadaist artist Merritt Oppenheim and the young choreographer Lauren Lovett. In Tanya, which you can purchase a copy of after this reading, Brenda Shaughnessy dwells in memories of the woman who set her on her artistic path. Her other poetry collections include The Octopus Museum, which was named a Best Book of 2019 by Publishers Weekly and Library Journal, So Much Synth, Our Andromeda, a finalist for the Kingsley Tufts Award, the International Griffin Prize, and the Penn Open Book Award, Human Dark with Sugar, which won the Academy's James Laughlin Award, and Interior with Sudden Joy. It's a little throwback for you, Brenda. The poet Richard Howard had this to say about Brenda Shaughnessy in 1998, I believe. Twice, maybe 3 times, in the course of reading, editing, and teaching, I have come across, or rather been traversed by, new poems of such originality, such consequence of diction, and innocence of attitude, that no response seems possible but gratitude. The recipient of a 2018 Literature Award from the American Academy of Arts and Letters, and a professor of English and creative writing at Rutgers University, Newark, Shaughnessy lives with her family in New Jersey. Let's please put our hands together for Brenda.
That was a throwback. Richard Howard died recently at the age of 91. He was a man of letters for a very long time. But this book is about women. Hi, the Academy and I go back a long ways. I was an intern there in 94 to 97. I was scrounging for hours from them. Please give me more summer hours. Anyway, congratulations on winning the first book prize. That is like the best prize to win. Sorry, Yale. Better than the Yale. I'm going to start with a climate change poem. I'm delighted to be here. I feel like we should have like a DJ though. This is Too Hot, Can't Stop. Number 1, won't stop. What an unusual winter to last till fall. Such a bad water this year, so full of elements and hardly any specials. I imagine the temperature had a hand in it. This new kind of hot we're having. Like the clouds pressed off on all the buttons and seeped themselves away asocially. Early retirement in Dapplement. All the branches signed off. Leaves left. They fell well before fall. The changing of the seasons went viral, and now we have Sunter, Sprummer, Wing, and Wall. 2, can't stop too hot. 1 foot in flip-flop, the other snow boot. 1 hatchling learns to conserve energy. Someone has to. Detaching its wings, hitching a ride with a stressed-out vole. Flying's not fuel efficient. A snake sheds its skin and crawls into the shell with a turtle. They make room. For my part, I imagine how a coyote re-eats its plastic waste. This imagining requires no action. which also, awfully, it's true, saves energy. Recycling requires a cycle, and we melted the axle, affixed the spindle. We stay still, hoping to grow some chlorophyll. Soon, everywhere will be too far to travel, too hot to go outside, but in skin, no place to breathe easy either. That poem is not in the book. It was in the New Yorker, and it didn't make the book deadline. So this is the last day of AWP. I am completely overwhelmed, and I think it's very weird that I'm standing up here. And I just kind of wanted to have a conversation, but I don't have anything to say that I didn't already write down. So here is Moving Far Away. I feel like for the past few years, we've sort of been like traveling in our memories a bit. Like I feel like since when I couldn't go anywhere, we sort of travel through the past. And I found it very interesting tourism. And so this book is really sort of about memories, about who was there back in the day. And it's called Tanya, which makes it seem like it's about someone named Tanya. But it's actually, Tanya was my college roommate, and we haven't spoken in over 30 years. And I think that she still maybe has a grudge against me. I don't know how she feels about me, but I'm gonna find out. Like I'm hoping she finds me, and she's hardly even in it. This is Moving Far Away. I hear they're trying to make borders in water now, to declare it a place, impose a shape, dissolve the solvent. It's no solution to our probable problem. I'll never see you again, I say on my cell, said to myself. We'll be well below alone now. Can I be a good friend to you if I move so far away? Haven't seen you in years, but I like a rough edge. Island broken off a big bully. I'll use up all my firewood on you. Sorcery? What turned into me? An iron foot, a leg of log, a wish for symmetry. My fire handed down to me by cauldron witches in their longish unauthorized youth. Broken crest rising, rinsed of desire, full of pull and push, no rush to finish or to vanish. As if water didn't wave and bring tidings and answer me like an animal, jealous, crushed, washing herself. I'll never forget. You told me never to forget, but I did. Your voice a needle, threaded, heading for my open wound, already burned clean for a clean split. So the book is called Tanya, and it's named after a 54-page poem in here, because what else were you going to do in the pandemic but write a 54-page poem? So obviously, I'm going to read very, very small excerpts of that. But the whole point, actually, and this is sort of strange to admit, I couldn't bear the notion of taking a thought that I had and then like polishing it and making it good. I thought, like, what happens if you just like write it and kind of make sure that it has a kind of flow and doesn't necessarily have to be like. I guess I was just tired. I was tired of trying to feel like I had to sound smart in poems. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, I don't want to sound smart. I just want to like get the flow down. I'll talk to you all night in your voice if I think it makes you listen. Does everyone feel unheard, or is just writers? Do others have a blue-black lump in throat, so afraid to speak, or only poets? Do poets only ever really speak to other poets, or are there other poets for other poets to talk to? Nobody can hear me. I stutter and mumble, not secretly hostile or self-sabotaging, but because I want to be heard so badly, I crashed my soul into my meaning and flub and flap too fast and can't hear, and I'm impatient, ever alone. Nobody gives chances. We trade in trust. We choose to trust someone, but there's no chance you're not being used by someone who benefits from your trust and the way you can trick yourself. Being used isn't talked about as much as it happens. Not just sex, but books are sex, so books too, for folks who buy and sell books. who read and recommend, use and lose, burn or give away, ignore, forget, rave, quote. Yes, sure, they think your book is good. They tell you that and other things about yourself and don't tell you some things too. Things you might want to know. Maybe they care about you aside from books. I hope so. So this is a poem called Saculum. It sort of means like of the era, your era. And this is, it's a bitter little, bitter little thing. It's not hopeful, although it opens the whole book. And it's sort of about how we all die, we all vanish, we all disappear, but sometimes it seems like women disappear while alive. Saculum. She was Woman of the Year that year. She got a plaque. The next year, those who chose Woman of the Year each year, canceled the award for the foreseeable future. It was decided that she, the last Woman of the Year, would become the lifelong holder of the honor. They engraved a dash on her plaque after the date she received her award to indicate its ongoingness unto death. What did she do in all that time with this one honor on her? As a representative of the larger demographic body of herself? She served until it finally became the sick joke it was always meant to be, this defining achievement. When she died, the plaque was amended. After the dash, they engraved the year of her death, which was the last year, the last Woman of the Year was Woman of the Year. They, those who chose, had terms continually renewed amongst themselves, but Woman of the Year died with her and her alone. Since then, none of the years had a woman of it, though so many were worthy. Another short excerpt from Tanya. We used to live in the city that kept us in grand digs and underwater, like Urshimataro, the boy who visited the old sea turtle's royal palace. The boy went for a long weekend, returned home 200 years later, everyone dead. Will you return that way? The way is both a way and a question. Will you go the way going goes, or will you go the way goes? Ancient, unaware, so sure we spent time in the same denomination as everyone else, but we had to turn back to the palace, unkings we, duchesses of dust, for the city can't die without us. We used to dream of a little place in the city, a pied-à-terre, but that's the worst idea. To want so badly to live in the city, you get a place to not live in there. Really, you live elsewhere where you never wanted to live, but do, like wet cut flowers spilling. I can't write an ending for posterity. Too much future all sung out. Old love, no longer dead to me. You are completely mixed up with the rest of me, ever. Do I refract everything I experience through everyone I experience, inhaling 1991 Tanya, exhaling present self? I know I'll never know, but I'm writing this toward that knowledge of endless unknowing. That is why writers are so weird. That and other reasons. We are neither creative nor interpretive artists, but both. And those two lives are hard to live at once. Believe me, I'm trying. And I'll finish with a poem that I wrote for that beautiful art piece, sculpture, a Dada classic object by Merritt Oppenheim, which is the Fur Teacup. There was a great exhibition of her work at the MoMA recently. This is the Impossible Lesbian Love Objects. So many of you might know it. It's an old object where it was a saucer, a spoon, and a teacup, and all lined in fur. Number one, it's an object. It's not me. I am more than an object. We are not having tea. I am not one, not two. I am a feminist three. I am Dada, not Mama, never will be. When no one can use me, I am most free. 2. I am not like other objects, unaware of themselves, those props subbing for desire. The corner of the room thinks the room is one cornered, the cat sculpture staring as if with its eyes. I too am a mammal stolen from my original sense of thirst. Women know this disappearance from meaning. Like all lesbian triptychs, I've stumbled. Like all love objects, I am triangular, unstable. I'm a lonely trio, a single setting, vexed and passive, sexed and distracted, a hot drink, a pot on the fire, the muscles loosened, an inner stirring, a little spill, the coat on the floor, the fur coat on the floor, the curved fur floor atop another circle to never catch a drop, and a concave face with concave back, swirling nothing. None of it really happening. I was once and always ever only an idea, just a clever blip, a quip, a dare, converted by coin and concept, given body, shape, hair, and an immortal uselessness all art thinks it's born with, that women can't get near. 3. I'm beloved for being art's best worst idea, famous for being impossible. That's why I'm obscene. Not because everybody wants to fuck the cup. Not even the spoon can get it up. Full frontal frottage, sapphic saucer, a curving inside outness, hairy leather hole. Liquid's skill is soaking, then getting sucked. Seeds' luck is spilling, then being tilled. It turns out we are having tea. But it's also heavy with life cycles, that even when you go light with art, to get a little air, the room's still a bit dark. And I'm repulsed, which attracts. In fact, the promise of warm fur is ancient. We'll outlast the ritual fire and water of tea for 3, not 2. You see, there's me and you and we. Pelts melt into a new body, not old. We're not thirsty. We're not cold. 4. I'm not just an object, my surfaces servicing, but I'm no more than myself. I end at my edges, finish my points, even if I bend your senses when I am this soft. The spoon is small, the cup generous, the saucer extra absorbent, past story, beyond end, like a certain kind of woman I have been with and been. Thank you. Can I just go? All right, thank you.
So thank you again to our readers this afternoon, Kweku, Jenny, and Brenda. And thank you all for joining us today, both in person and virtually, for this reading presented by the Academy of American Poets. There will be a book signing outside by Kweku and Brenda, and it will begin momentarily. Thanks for your patience, and have a lovely rest of your day and conference. Thank you.